All right, National League edition of the All-Star break. Starting off with the Phillies. I'm gonna come out here and say I think they have the best lineup in baseball. I don't know if everybody's gonna agree with me on that, but I just look at the way that they've performed at this point of the season, and their lineup has just been so deep. I just they've been incredible. I think they're outside of the Dodgers, they might be the most complete team in baseball. I know currently they're fourth in the National League standings with Dodgers, Cubs, and Milwaukee. I'm pretty sure has moved ahead of them with Milwaukee's incredible run, but they're just so deep. If you go look at how they're hitting right now, they're hitting just incredibly well. But yeah, they're super deep. You got Schwarber there. He won that Derby swing off thing last night for the National League. Trey Turner's been good. Bohm was on the Derby last year, and he just he was an all-star, obviously. So Castellanos, Real Muto. There's just so many names of Phillies players who have performed well.
Bryce Harper.
Yeah, Sosa, like yeah, it's just been. I feel good about them. I feel bad for picking Atlanta ahead of them at the start of the season. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I think they're pretty good. I would not be surprised if they end up in the World Series this year. I feel like the Dodgers have to not have a year. We can talk about the Central in a minute, but yeah, what do you think of best lineup in baseball? You probably don't agree with that, but I'll just throw that at you.
I don't, but it's not. I don't think it's a crazy
Hmm.
take. I actually think I would say they're the third best in the National League because I think the Cubs are stacked.
Hmm.
A team I was probably the most wrong about going into the year, but Philadelphia wise, they started out insanely hot. They've come down to earth a little bit. They didn't have Harper for a while. He just came back.
Right.
Schwarber with just a cool 30 home runs in the first half. Like Trey Turner, steady.
Oh, he's
Zach
been
Wheeler,
good. He's been
steady
pretty good.
ace. But they've been doing this with Harper being hurt, and Aaron Nola was like one of the worst pitchers in the league before he got hurt. So we'll see. But Sanchez, Suarez, and then they have maybe the best pitching prospect in AAA, Andrew Painter. Like they could
Yeah.
bring him up whenever they want. So they're going to be there in October. They're a serious team. I'm not as big of a believer as you are, but they're definitely very good.
Alonso with the Mets, he's just so consistent. He was scheduled to hit last night in that swing off, but he didn't end up. They didn't end up needing him. I don't know why Aaron Boone managed the American League because I would have. Well, obviously I know, but my point is I don't get why he did it the way that he did it. I would have put somebody else out there. I would have thrown Judge out there for. I don't. I just don't agree with the. I think there was better options to throw in that swing off than what he decided to go with. Rooker did okay, but yeah. Anyway, get to the Mets. Soto going there. Obviously, a huge story in the offseason. Makes it entertaining. They're still in the race for that division. Alonso, Marte, Lindor's actually. I was kind of thinking he was going to take a big step back, but he's been decent. So, yeah. And then their pitching is, all right. But what do you think?
Yeah, I really like them. They've impressed me. I I like the year Alonso's had after like it kind of seemed like he wasn't valued the way he should have been in the offseason, where it was like nobody thought he'd return to New York, and then
Oh,
he did.
100%.
Yeah, like um, so I he's been really good. Soto's been quietly very good. He somehow seems like underrated this year, despite
Yeah.
making $1 billion. Lindor's amazing. I love Lindor, obviously. Their pitching's been very impressive to me. With like the injuries they've had, the guys they've lost. Like they've made Griffin Canning good. Peterson was an all star. Like they just whatever they're doing with their pitching is really working. I mean, they have Diaz. Um,
He's a great reliever.
in the
Minter also out of the bullpen. He's been good.
Yeah. Um, I and one of the weird stories, their catcher Alvarez, they sent down after I think he was in the bigs like all of last year. So like he's tweaking some things, so he'll come up. I think he'll be better when they bring him back up. They're a very deep team. I didn't like them as much as Philadelphia or Atlanta coming into the year, but they've been impressive. And for like having a very boisterous fan base, I feel like they've been kind of quiet, like as a team. It almost seems like with like the big names they have, like they're kind of flying under the radar, but been playing very well.
They were insanely streaky because I think they lost like seven straight at one point. I want to say in June. I'd have to go back and look at that, but yeah, I know they were hot and they were ahead for a while, and then they kind of fell off, and then they got it back together. So it'll be interesting to watch them. I don't have like if I were to rank the teams in the National League of who I have the most confidence in going into the postseason, I would not have them at the top. I think they'll make it in as a wild card. I still have the Phillies winning that division. But you know they'll be competitive. They'll be interesting, and you get into the dance, you can possibly win. So you never know. Yeah, I think they get in. They won't be my pick to win the National League though. So Marlins. This is really a two-horse race with this division with the Phillies and the Mets. But yeah, the Marlins. I think they're still kind of a younger group. Getting rid of Jazz Chisholm last year was, I get why they did it, and the Yankees needed him. But I think he was a big spark plug for them. I know there was kind of some controversy about like the flair that he brought to the game, obviously. But yeah, I'm kind of not a big believer in the Marlins, but they've been decent, and there's some positive things to look at for sure.
Yeah, and um, they got a good return. Like Augustin Ramirez, who they got in that Chisholm trade, their catcher has been like pretty great as a young guy. Stowers made the All Star team. Like that, I mean, him and Norby for Trevor Rogers, like that was an awesome trade for them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember everybody giving Baltimore some crap for that when they did it, and actually, Trevor Rogers has weirdly been good this year. But I mean, they really like nailed that trade. Like Stowers has been awesome for them. Xavier Edwards is good. Otto Lopez is good. I like Dane Myers in center. They just have like a bunch of like good players.
Hmm.
I think they'll probably. I'd be stunned if they finish ahead of the Braves, but they're playing well. They have a good manager. They got Yuri Perez back, who I love. He's a
Oh,
superstar.
I think
And
he's
then
great as well.
yeah, he's going to be amazing. And then they coming into the year, they were like the number one. Where's Sandy going to go? And he's been pretty brutal this year, but he's going to get traded somewhere. So they'll have a role to play in the trade deadline.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to get dealt at the deadline. I mean, they're going to be sellers when you're under 500. I think what are they like seven-ish under 500 to this point?
Yeah.
7 or 8. But yeah, I think they'll be sellers. The big question I wanted to get to with this was where's Alcantara going to go?
Yeah, I think he's gonna end up in Chicago. That's my guess. But like, there's like 10 teams that could trade for him, so I'm not sure because his down year has obviously driven the price down a little bit, which I think makes him more of an option for more teams than if he was awesome. Like if he'd been a superstar, then it's like Yankees, Cubs, and Dodgers. But now, like I don't know, do the Tigers try to trade for him and get crazy? Like who knows? So. Um, my pick would be Chicago, but I could see him going to like San Francisco. Like who knows?
Boston, we want him. I'd be so happy. I would be so happy. Him for
I
yeah, go ahead.
man, he worries me. I don't know if I'd want my team to trade for him, but because he's kind of got that Class A thing for me, where like you throw 99, 100, and you don't strike guys out like that. That worries me a little bit, but obviously he's been a total
But
horse.
when he's
So
on it, if he clicks with the
yeah,
rest of the group, oh my God, I'd love it.
especially in Boston where they're like, all right, stop throwing fastballs and we're going to throw sliders 50% of the time. Like
Yeah,
that could be pretty
Andrew
interesting.
Bailey, the Red Sox pitching coach. I mean, now that Bayo's allowed to throw his fastball more often than he was the past couple of years, I just, I mean, he's playing a lot better. He played going back to Boston, but like, he had a complete game. So I'd love to see him with the Red Sox. Obviously, I don't think he's a perfect baseball player, but when he's on it, he's incredible.
Yeah.
The most, my opinion, the most disappointing team in the entire major leagues this year, the Atlanta Braves. Their
Yeah.
lineup is still good. Their pitching has not been as good. But yeah, Chris Sale had an incredible year last year. He has not been, nearly as good this year, but you know, He's been okay. He's been just not what he was last year and kind of not exactly what you expect. He's been good, but he hasn't been,
Yeah.
Cy Young level. Their lineup is still very deep and very good. They've been a massive disappointment because I thought it was going to be Phillies, Mets, and, Braves. Three-horse race where both, all three, you're going to have three teams from the same division at over 90 wins in this crazy race that comes down to the wire, but they've not been good. Their pitching has not been where they need to be.
Oh, they killed me. I said earlier the Rangers are my second biggest disappointment. This is the biggest by far. I picked the Braves to win the World Series. I thought their team was
I
absolutely
did
loaded,
too. I did too.
and they've been terrible. I mean, they've been atrocious on the road. Like I I don't get it. I thought this team was the best team in baseball 2 years ago. Acuna was coming back. Strider was coming back. I was all in on this team. It's been such a disappointment. They're not hitting the way I thought they would. Their pitching has taken a step back. Schwellenbach's out for the year. Chris Sale's obviously regressed. I mean, he won the Triple Crown last year. Like, he wasn't going to do that again, but he's still
Right.
an all-star.
Exactly.
Strider's struggled a little bit. I thought he'd be better since it was his second Tommy John that he'd be used to it. He's still striking guys out, but he's getting hit pretty hard. The bullpen's atrocious. It's
Oh
horrible.
God, yeah.
Raciel Iglesias is bad. Dylan Lee, I don't know. I just this team like makes me mad at how disappointing they are. Like,
Yeah.
especially because Acuna's been awesome, but when he came back, him and Strider returned later than I thought they would. But they've both been good. Like, neither one has been bad. Acuna's been amazing, but Ozuna stinks. Albies stinks. Like, these guys that were
Mhm.
all-star staples have just been bad. Like, it makes no sense to me. I do not get it.
I think that's a fair statement. Yeah, I don't get it either. I think they're very confusing. Going back to 21, they won their first World Series, and Freddie was there at the time before he took off to the Dodgers, but they did it without Acuna, and it's just like their GM Alex Anthopoulos. I think him and Brad Stevens are the two best general managers in all of sports. I really believe that. But I just thought with how good they were going to be, they were going to be a dynasty. I thought, between 20 in the 2020s from 2021 to 2029 with how good these young players are that they have locked down on these really good team friendly contracts that we're going to see them win like 3 or 4 World Series by 2030, and they got the one and they haven't gotten back. They've had some postseason disappointment against the Phillies. The Phillies have kind of been notorious for taking opportunities away from them. So we'll see where this thing goes. But I just I'm stunned. I'm utterly stunned by
Yeah,
how bad they've been. We'll see if they
yeah,
can recover next season. But I think they're in a spot now where their team is way too good and way too talented to blow the thing up and be sellers, but they're not going to be good enough to get into the playoffs, in my opinion.
yeah. And I didn't even mention Michael Harris, who's like,
Yeah.
everybody thought he's going to be a superstar. He's been doo-doo this year. Like, it's so bizarre. It makes me wonder if there's like something going on behind closed doors that we don't know about, because the team's too talented. Like, Drake Baldwin is probably the favorite for NL Rookie of the Year, their catcher. It's not the strongest field in the world, but he's been really good. Sean Murphy's good. Like, why is this team winning games? I don't understand it.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. Nationals are young. I really like Abrams. I think he's a good piece, but they don't have a complete ball club. They're a last place team for a reason. The Red Sox swept them, which I was very excited about. But like the Nationals, I think the Braves, like, if you and I are both fans of American League teams, so it is kind of fun when, we're in a situation like I was earlier this year where the Red Sox weren't as good. Now, thankfully, they're playing better and they're in the wild card race, and, Guardians aren't as good. It's fine to like kind of find like a Braves team to root for, like we were saying, who hasn't been as good. And then the Nationals, when they were at their peak in 2019, when the Red Sox were out of it, they were fun to root for. So it'll be interesting. They're very young. I know you have a lot of knowledge about their prospects, so I'll give you a chance to speak on that. But I'm hoping that they'll, make some progress in the next few years because, frankly, I think it'd be good for the sport.
Yeah, I mean, they have maybe my favorite non-Guardian, James Wood, their left fielder. He is such a superstar. I love
Oh,
him.
yeah.
and I really like Abrams too. And then Mackenzie Gore, they're so like all the guys they got for Juan Soto basically are really good, and then
Yeah.
the rest of the team is super bad. But Dylan Cruz, their stud rookie from or their stud draft pick from last year, has been hurt, so he hasn't played. But he looked pretty decent to start the year. But they just Kyber Ruiz, their catcher, who had shown some promise, he's taken some steps back. Luis Garcia, their second baseman, same thing. Nathaniel Lowe's like weirdly been good for them at first base, but um, their pitching is really weak. Josiah Gray's been out all year. I don't know if he's coming back or not, and he's not like a superstar or anything. Trevor Williams taking a step back, but I mean, like if I was a fan of the Nationals, like I'd be so excited I get to root for James Wood. Like,
Right.
and then you
He's
get
awesome.
Cruz, CJ Abrams. Like, I think the future's bright if they. I mean, they just had the number one pick this weekend. They took a 17-year-old switch hitting shortstop, so we'll see how that happens. It's going to be a few years before he does anything, but um, they're at the point now where like, yeah, you nailed the Juan Soto trade. Like, you got basically as good a return as you possibly could, but you're still bad. So like something's not right. And then firing the GM and the coach a week before the draft is
Right.
crazy. Like, I wonder what the ownership is up to, but I'd like to say the future's bright because of the guys I have, but I mean, I don't know what happens after that. Like,
Yeah.
James Wood and CJ Abrams are amazing. You can't win 90 games because of two guys, though.
I've also been really impressed with Wood. I'm glad that I brought up Abrams and you brought up Wood. I think that was kind of
Yeah.
that came together nicely. My lifelong Red Sox fan. Red Sox always my favorite team, always my number one. But my second favorite team growing up has always been the Chicago Cubs. I really like the Cubs. You had some
Screw the
bad
Cubs, bro.
memories in 2016 against them. So I know you're yeah, that's probably the equivalent of like the St. Louis Blues for me when it comes to hockey. But yeah, I like the Cubs. I like Swanson when he was with obviously when he was with the Braves, and now he's over there. And I had the Cubs win in that division this year, so I was excited to see the way that they've been playing. They've been tremendous. You said you think their lineup is filthy. Like I personally, like I would go. I think the Dodgers are the best team. I think the Phillies are the second best, and I think the Cubs are the third best in the National League. I personally like hoping slash thinking that the Dodgers have an off year and they don't make the World Series and they choke. And it'll be the Phillies is kind of my prediction, but if not, it'll be the Cubs. And I think that'd be pretty cool. So, what are your thoughts on Chicago?
Yeah. Well, I hate the Cubs, but they're like the opposite of the Braves and Rangers for me. Like
Oh,
because they got a lot of hype coming into the year, and I was kind of like, I don't know if I believe in the pitching, and I'm not totally sure. And they've surpassed all my expectations. I watched a lot of baseball. I've seen every team play a bunch. I think they're the only team in the same class as the Dodgers, to be honest with you. Detroit's been awesome. I just don't see. I don't think they're quite at that level. I don't think the Phillies and Mets are. Obviously, in a 5-game series, 7-game series, like anybody can win. But like the Cubs have really impressed me. Their lineup is nuts, top to bottom. And they're pitching. They're doing all this without Justin Steele, who's their ace coming into the year. I could have told you as a Cleveland fan that Matthew Boyd would be good. He was our best pitcher last year in the postseason, and we let him go because he would cost money. He was an all-star for the Cubs. Imanaga has been hurt, but he came back. He's really good. Like, they've got everything except a closer right now. I like Daniel Palencia, who's been closing, but he's young. He's not super experienced, so I could see them trying to get a closer. I think they're definitely going to get a starting pitcher. That's why I think they'll get Sandy. But their lineup is so impressive. Like, as a prospect person, like Pete Crow Armstrong, like everybody knew him for his defense and his speed. Like, he's always been fast, but like just 80 grade center fielder, he'd be awesome. Nobody knew he had this power. Like, he is a legitimate shot to go 40-40 as a 23-year-old, I think. Like,
I
he's
didn't
been
realize he was
amazing
that
for them.
young, to be honest. Wow.
Yeah. Last year he was a rookie, so he's been great. Seiya Suzuki's been amazing. Like, probably
Yeah.
the biggest snub of the All-Star game, I would say. Kyle Tucker, just steady.
Rafaela.
Yeah,
Rafaela
come
should have
on.
been an all-star.
Does he have 70 RBIs? Come on
Good
now.
point. But
Um,
American
I
League is
mean,
the biggest league.
they both should have been, but I love Seiya Suzuki. He's been a stud. Um, Carson Kelly, their catcher, like weirdly started the year out very, very good. Michael Bush, guy they got from the Dodgers. The Dodgers were like, "We have Freddie Freeman. We are never going to play you." They traded
Yeah.
him to Chicago, and he's been amazing. I mean, the prospect they got is going to be a stud too. But just a great trade for both teams. Like this team has really impressed me. I am a believer.
I love Boyd. I
I
have him on my fantasy team. I think he's excellent. He's very legit.
He's so good.
Mhm. But yeah, they've been incredible this year. I thought they were going to be good. I told you they were going to win the division this year. You didn't believe me, but there's still a chance they won't, and that's because the Milwaukee Brewers 7 game
Yeah,
win streak. Holy crap! Yeah,
they're the Cleveland of the NL. Like they every year they're good. Like they just they don't have the big names, and it doesn't matter. Like they're so steady. They play defense really well. They have a great bullpen. Like all the stuff that isn't sexy, and they just. I mean, 16 games over 500. Like I love Milwaukee. I think they're a ton of fun. Mizurowski. I mean, the most electric pitcher right now. That dude's a freak. His like repertoire, you can't even like make in a video game. Like you can't have a 90-mile-an-hour curveball. Like he's ridiculous. I hope he stays healthy because he's so much fun to watch. I think that team is stacked. We'll see if they do anything at the deadline. I don't know, but I don't think they can catch the Cubs. They're only 1 game back, which is crazy to me. But they're definitely going to be in the playoffs. Like that team is legit.
oh yeah, I have them as a wild card team personally. But yeah, they're there. You never know. I think Chicago's just too good, frankly. And I think they'll show that in the second half. As we get to the Cardinals here, local story to point out: Liam Doyle of Pinkerton Academy graduated high school 3 years ago at Pinkerton, and now he just got drafted fifth overall by the Cardinals, which is super cool. Went to Tennessee, so local shout out for him. Yeah, I think with these two teams in the division, though, for the Cardinals right now, I don't see them, making any noise and being able to come out on top of that.
Yeah, they're a fun trade deadline team. If they, I think they should sell. I mean, we'll see what they do, but Arenado, Sonny Gray could be like a huge get for someone. Helsley is probably the biggest closer on the market, I would say, unless Clase gets moved. Like Helsley could be a huge difference maker for a team. So I mean, they've surpassed my expectations. Brendan Donovan's been really good. I love
Yeah.
Lars Nootbaar. He's kind of slipped back a little bit lately, but I really like him.
He's been hurt for a
Um,
little bit. He's on
yeah,
the IL, so yeah.
and Jordan Walker, their like superstar prospect from a couple years ago, has been hurt and he's been disappointing, but I still like him. And then Mason Wynn, their shortstop's been great, but I think they should build for the future. They've got a good, solid young core. They need pitching. They've needed pitching for a few years. Sonny Gray's like quietly been amazing this year again. So I would trade him and get a haul. But
They're
there's a
over
world where they make
500, so.
there's a world where they just don't and they keep it together and make the playoffs, I guess. I just don't think they have the talent, to be honest with you.
As if I were a Cardinals fan, I would have a very tough time if they decided to sell at the deadline, which because they are above 500 and they're a good team, but they're not Chicago because Chicago's just unbelievable. Milwaukee's been very hot lately, so I don't think they have the talent on their roster right now to catch them. And I think if they went out and spent at the deadline to get those pieces, that it might fall apart in the offseason and they wouldn't get any hardware to come home with them to make themselves feel better. So it's just a really tough spot to be in if you're a GM or if you were a fan of that team and they decide to go either way.
Especially in the National League. Like Chicago, the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Met, like these are huge markets. Like
Right.
all of those teams are going to do something at their deadline. Like you have to really go on a run here to be able to catch those teams, I think.
Cincinnati, I mean, I've been for probably about a year and a half now, I've been really hoping that like with De La Cruz and with a young talent there, that they would turn into something real and they'd have like a 90 win team who would be in the postseason and who would be competing for a World Series. And the last couple of years they've really disappointed me in the second half, and not been able to really close it and get into the wild card position either. So but that being said, they've had a decent year this year. They're above 500. They're a fourth place team, but they're better than your standard bearer for a fourth place team. I mean, I think they're good, similar to the Cardinals in some ways. I think they're kind of a little bit younger in other ways, but whereas like the Cardinals have some veterans, as we mentioned. But yeah, I think they're good. I'm curious to see where they go at the deadline, because similar position of not really having a team where you're like with the Cubs, you're like, oh yeah, this team is a World Series contender and they can just go all in. But at the same time, like they're good enough and they have young pieces on reasonable contracts that you don't want to, deal them. So I'll be curious to see what they end up doing. They're interesting. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love the Reds. The Reds and the Padres are like my two NL teams that I always like to root for. I don't know why. I mean, Cincinnati's in Ohio, so I like them. But I love Ellie. He's amazing. I
Yeah.
like Matt McClain. Austin Hayes has been weirdly really good for them. Will Benson, he's a guy that used to be on the Guardians. I love him. I hope he's good. And then it's just nice to see Francona back managing. Like I
Oh,
really like
love
that.
him. Obviously, as a
Yeah,
Red Sox fan, you have to love him.
yeah, yeah. In Cleveland, like he's the man. So it's nice to see him back. They're they're like a little bit ahead of the Cardinals timeline wise because like the Cardinals have some good prospects. Like Liam Doyle is going to be in the majors next year, I think. At this point, like he's a college arm. Like also he's a maniac, by the way. Watching him
Yeah.
pitch at Tennessee, like he's yelling and stuff. He seems like a total wild card. But they have him. They have Quinn Matthews, who they drafted last year. Like so, Cardinals I think are like a year behind where the Reds are, despite having a better record right now. Because last year I thought the Reds would make the playoffs. I was drinking the Kool-Aid, but they're
Me
just
too.
not ready yet. Yeah, they're. I think next year, like Ellie, like really steps up, becomes like I would say MVP candidate, but Otani exists. But like he could be like big name, and Lodolo, Hunter Green, like their pitching takes a step up. But I guess deadline wise, like they might move Pagan, who's been closing for them. Like they could maybe get something for him, but their team's like mostly kind of younger. So maybe they move Austin Hayes, I guess, or Spencer Steer, but they're probably going to stand pretty pat, I would guess, and finish around 500.
I really like Spencer Steer. The other thing is Hunter Green, when he gets healthy, is a big, question for them, in terms of like being able to come back. Like Red Sox, you had Bregman come back at the right time. So like if you can get Hunter Green back at the right time, then maybe he can make a little bit of a run and make some noise. It'll there's the weird thing about doing this episode during the All-Star break is because you're projecting what the buyer seller thing is. Like there's teams like Chicago, are going to be buyers, and then there's teams that are going to be sellers. Like Guardians will probably get rid of Class A, so that's the way that it goes. But there's other teams like this who are kind of in the middle, and who are still younger, so you don't know exactly what they're going to do. But
Yeah, and everybody always brings it up now, but like with the expanded wild card, like so many of these teams think they're buyers. Like it just
right.
the market for sellers is really thin. Like I
I
mean,
think
in
it's
the
good for baseball that it's that way, though, with the
yeah,
expanded wild card. I think it's good.
yeah, because like I mean, like the Diamondbacks are being rumored as like big sellers. They're only 3 games under 500. Like, so it just shows how cutthroat it is. Like, if you're not right there, I mean, we're talking about the Cardinals, 5 games over 500. Do they sell some pieces? Like, it, it. I'll say it again. Like, the National League is brutal. Like, it's just so stacked. Like, the top teams are really, really good. So we'll see.
Uh, we're gonna go to a team that's really, really bad in Pittsburgh. Paul Skeens he's just amazing. I think I'd probably put him right behind Skubal as the best pitcher in baseball. There's a few other names you could throw in there, obviously. I think Wheeler with the Phillies, I think he's been good. So, we can throw in those names. Crochet's been good, but this guy is the second best pitcher in baseball, maybe. I think he's going to have an incredible career. It's just too bad to see it wasted in Chicago. So there's a chance he gets moved. Do you think he's going to get moved? And if so, where's he going to go?
No, I don't think there's any world where they trade him.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we've never seen a player like this get traded at this stage in their career. Like, I don't even know what you would give. I mean, you give up everything, but I don't think there's any chance they trade him.
Really?
Yeah, I
I think
think.
there's a chance, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it would be fun if they did that. I'd be so stunned, but I guess you never know. A little bit like Mitch Keller, I think they trade. It's obviously not nearly as sexy, but he's a good pitcher. Like, he'd be very helpful for Boston. Like, so that's a big deadline one. Him, like, so he's not like a flashy name, but he's a consistent innings eater, very good pitcher. So that's fun. That lineup stinks so bad.
Oh,
Um,
awful.
they're a tough watch. I love O'Neal Cruz, but he's hitting like 204. Like, he needs to cut down on the strikeouts. And Brian Reynolds is one of the most underrated players in the league every year. Switch hitter, very solid. And then it's just dregs. Like, it's so bad. It's brutal. They do have my favorite prospect in the league, Connor Griffin, shortstop they took last year. He's at high A though. Like, it's going to be a while for him. I think right now he's probably the second best hitter in the entire organization as an 18-year-old, which is bad. That's not a good sign for your team. But I mean, hopefully he comes up soon and they get some more pieces and put something around Skeens, because they're showing the stats like, oh, sub 2 ERA, 100 whatever strikeouts, and he's 4-8. Like, it's just
Yeah.
it's brutal. It reminds me of like young DeGrom. Like, we got to get this guy some help, dude. Because I would agree with you. I think he's probably the second best pitcher right now behind Scooble. Like,
Yeah.
he's so much fun to watch. He's a dog.
Oh yeah, we gotta make sure that we stay within the time here. So quickly, the Dodgers. I hate the team, but I like the players. Like I love Mookie, I love Freddie, and Otani's just been great for the game. So they're the we don't have to talk that much about them. They're great. They're a really good team, and it's just they're going to be in the dance. They're going to win their division. It was a sure thing when you look at the betting odds preseason. The odds of them winning the division was crazy. It was like 10-1 or something absurd, maybe even higher than that. So it's just like a waiting game for October and to see what they put forward. Anything to add on that?
No, I think the top and the bottom of this division are pretty easy to talk about.
Oh
Dodgers are
yeah,
amazing, better than everybody. They're my pick to win the World Series at this point. It's not fun, it's not sexy, but they're just that good. And the Rockies are that bad. They are
yeah.
easily the worst team in the league, on pace to be worse than the White Sox last year. Uh, I think the way that team is managed and the ownership, everything is a complete embarrassment for the league. But the real like fun part of this division is Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks. Like, what those teams do at the trade deadline is going to be huge. Giants are always buyers. Padres with Preller, like, who knows what they're going to do. And the Diamondbacks are being talked about as these huge sellers with Naylor and Suarez and Merrill Kelly. But, like, I don't know. Like, they still have Corbin Carroll and Ketel Marte. Like, they could still be good. So,
hmm
I don't know. This division is a lot of fun, but it's the Dodgers, man. Like, it sucks, but that's how it is.
Yeah, Rockies are awful. I mean, I think after the trade deadline, there's a chance that they'll be putting out some letters and maybe they'll fly us into Denver to see if we can try out for the team or something. That'd be pretty cool because they got nobody else there who can play. So that'd be fun. But yeah, in all seriousness, they're terrible. One of the worst teams in Major League history. The middle's more interesting. Padres, Giants, Diamondbacks. I think all three are poised to potentially make a wild card run. But yeah, I feel pretty similar with San Diego and San Francisco, kind of just being good teams. Webb's a good pitcher, so they're good, they're interesting, they're wild card worthy. And then Arizona, like to say that they could, like you already said, that they could be sellers is just crazy to me. If I was Corbin Carroll and that happened, to see the team kind of give up, like I'd be frustrated in that position. But yeah, which of these teams, if two of them maybe you think have a good chance to contend for a wild card spot? Because I think it's going to be tough with the Mets and the Brewers likely snatching up two of those spots. What do you think?
Yeah. I think. I mean, I love the Padres. I'd still pick them. The Giants are such a wild card with the trade deadline. Like they could make such a big splash, but I really like the Padres roster. Now, if they trade King or Cease, like that makes things interesting. They've obviously been linked to Duran a bunch. I've always thought Duran for Michael King makes a ton of sense, but at this point now, I don't know why you trade Duran. So I don't see that happening. I think they'll just keep their roster. And Jackson Merrill like hasn't been himself yet, so they can be even better. Machado's been awesome, so I'd pick the Padres of that group. But hey, you can't. I mean, you could make a very sound argument for the Giants for sure.
Yeah, I think with Arizona, it's interesting because they were just in the World Series 2 years ago, and then last year they missed the postseason. But yeah, my personal prediction: division winners for National League, Phillies, Cubs, Dodgers. The way things are currently constructed, and I think your wild cards. Milwaukee's ahead of the Mets right now. The Mets are really tough to predict with how streaky they can be, but I'm gonna say Mets get the first one, Brewers get the second one, and then third. I'm really on the fence between the Padres and the Giants. I mean, there's always a chance for Arizona, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm gonna go Padres as the last team in for the NL.
Yeah, I would go division winners. I have the Mets. I think they're a little bit better in my eyes. Cubs and then Dodgers and then Brewers, Phillies, and I would say Padres. I think like the fun side of me wants to be like the Reds could sneak in there. I mean, they're only 2 games back of the Padres, but or two in the win column at least. But I just don't see it happening. I think the Padres and Giants are better than them in St. Louis. But
Right.
that's the fun pick. But and then I've got Dodgers. Like it, I wish I had some fun like cute pick, but I just got the Dodgers.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Phillies, like I said, to win the National League. But I'd love to see, a Cubs Red Sox World Series, unless the Cubs win. So,
Oh God.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really hope I'm wrong because Dodgers Astros would be so ass.
Yeah.
But I don't
Hey,
know. I mean, maybe who knows?
at least I know you wouldn't love to see Red Sox versus Cubs. That's not fun for you, but I think it'd be better than Dodgers Astros.
Yeah, Boston's my favorite of the Red Sox are my favorite of the Boston sports teams, and I will never root for the Cubs. But that would also stink. I don't know. But Brewers Tigers. Let's get it interesting.
Okay, I like that. I really would.
That'd be
That'd be an entertaining World
maybe
Series.
that'd be a snooze fest.
All right.
Um, yeah, that's what I got.
All right. Well, we'll check in again at the end of the regular season as we enter postseason baseball. I just think it was good to have you on again and discuss this. I think it's good to do this, but I think people would get bored out of us if we just recap the same information every week.
Yeah, yeah. I love talking baseball. Always love hanging out with you, Drew. So it's fun. It sucks that Cleveland stinks, but hey, it's the way it is. So
Who are you?
can't win everything, I guess.
Who are you cheering on at this point? If it's not going to be Cleveland, who would you like to see win the World Series?
Um, I mean, probably San Diego or Seattle, and then Cincinnati if they somehow snuck in. But of the like realistic teams, like I don't know. I hate all these teams.
All right.
Toronto, I guess, would be fun. I like Vladdy.
Yeah. All right. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate it.